friends, welcome to What You Doing Wednesdays. This is where we take some time to talk about what you got going on in your life, and we also go and do a deep dive into the Neuro Change curriculum. First module of the Neuro Change Method is starting with purpose and flow. What is Neuro Change? Neuro Change is actually a curriculum that consists of multiple different sciences, including psychology, philosophy, neuroscience, all put into one bundle, and comes from the Neuro Change Institute, which is an institute out of Australia. So this is all science-backed information where we are taking what we know about the brain and how we can leverage that to become a better version of ourselves, and what in the Neuro Change community we call transcending into the best version of ourselves. So there's really many ways to reach that. There's no linear path towards figuring out your purpose, your resetting, and why you do what you do. But this is where the Neuro Change Method comes into play to really provide a tool to get to that next step and to become a better version of yourself. Without further ado, I do want to also take this as some time to test out these systems, really get some practice on how to get the lives going. Right now, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so you can see what I am looking at. I want to kind of point out and go through what this all entails, because really it's not just the Neuro Change Method that we're sharing here. We have the Rising Palace Collective at your fingertips. I partnered with multiple people to be able to give this to you guys. It's really important to bear in mind that mental health should be at the forefront. I try to break things down to a very simple definition, right? I like to keep things in the sense that we need a general basis to live. So we have the basis of life, I call it. Very simple. It's 5 things. There's shelter, transportation, energy, food, and water that we need to survive in our current infrastructure, all brought together through mind, body, and soul. Who we are, why we do what we do. What I like to correlate to ships that we travel through. We travel through ships in this vast ocean of life, right? It consists of waves, both positives and negatives, both literally and figuratively. We have this beautiful ocean that we travel through, and we travel through these waves on ships. It could be a friendship, a business partnership, a romantic relationship, just any type of relationship that's gonna stay afloat. If too much negativity gets into that hull, most likely it's gonna sink. So that being said, at the end of the day, all we have, what I call our lifeboat, the flesh vessel, our mind, our body, our soul, that binds everything together, and we gotta make sure that we stay afloat no matter what ship we're traveling upon. This is where the beauty of the Neuro Change Method comes into play, where once you learn the power of cognition, getting into that mindset and information about yourself that will be used to accomplish any type of goals you might have. There's another really interesting concept in the Neuro Change Method where they call drifting. The vast majority of people, I included, that many times found myself that I'm just drifting, where I don't feel like I have a purpose. And it's funny that it correlates so beautifully with my analogy of the ocean of life, right? Because you drift abroad and you just get lost. You don't know why you're doing what you're doing. And it didn't really click to me until someone mentioned a 3-word question of, Danny, what's your purpose? And it just clicked at that moment, where I had a reasoning, and it took me a day and a half to really come up with a solid answer, because in the moment, my answer was, well, I do this for real estate and I help people with short-term rentals. And I found that a lot of times it's easy to get that confused, and there's so many different perspectives and definitions of purpose. And I correlated to work immediately, which the person who asked me, he said, no, that's what you do for a living. Why why do you do what you do for a living? What's your purpose? I think I remember. I don't know, man. I know what my purpose is, but I can't define it in English right now. I don't know, and I just got really frustrated with the question, quite frankly, right there on the spot. But it stayed with me, and I thought about it for literally a day and a half. I'm not kidding you. At least a day and a half. And ever since, I just been thinking about this, and I really broke down to everything I do from my experience, which now I take and I put on camera. I record this to share and to reciprocate this to you, so that you can also pick and choose the little bits and pieces of my experience to correlate that to your own instance. And hopefully you can grow, which I narrowed it down to 2 words, which is reciprocating positivity. In the next couple weeks and months, because we're doing this every single Wednesday, noon o'clock, get on with the Rising Palace and figure out, what are you doing? Why are we doing this? Neuro Change Method consists of the purpose and flow module. Then we dive deep into the beliefs, your mindset, emotional intelligence, subconscious influence, so we can lead up to the neuroplasticity. We'll dive in really deep into what that means. But really, it all starts with the purpose and flow. I actually went through a whole entire packet. I'm going to be sharing this here with my screen share, because this is something that's going to be accessible to you guys. Once you join the Rising Palace, it's a $5 a month subscription to become a member of the Rising Palace, and you get access to the purpose and flow. You get access to the whole Neuro Change method. You actually, more importantly, get to connect one-on-one with Neuro Change practitioners that will guide you and lead you through this. However you learn, there's so many ways to learn. There's not one specific way. Some people will learn better by reading it, by going through it one by one. I like to go through word by word and literally write notes on every single thing, that how it correlates, and how when there's the activities to go through, I went ahead and I went all in. I wanted to really make sure I understood the curriculum before I was able to express it and share it with others. It's something that's beautiful, you guys. It's a wonderful opportunity to really absorb this, be a sponge, and quite frankly, it's something that you can reciprocate to the next person that needs help. It's not about us. We're all on this planet, and a piece of it, we owe it to ourselves to really do the best we can do to have a great day and hopefully even better tomorrow. So welcoming you guys to the Neuro Change Method. And there's a whole table of contents here. We're gonna go and find out what the Neuro Change Method is. Then we'll start by going through why you're here. Are you searching for purpose, and why? There's a lot of people that, like myself, when I first was asked, what's your purpose? I didn't really know how to answer, and I correlated it simply to what I do for work. And there's a lot more to purpose. And there's ways of learning purpose too. There's different ways of learning purpose besides just being asked the three-word question, right? There's social learning, there's reactive development, proactive search. These are different forms of acquiring the definition of purpose and how it correlates to you. There is such thing as purpose anxiety as well. It's not an easy question to be asked. It's definitely not something that just comes to mind immediately to a lot of people. It's not a common question to begin with. And then we go and dive into what good is purpose. Why do we even want to know what our purpose is? Who cares, right? And just we'll actually go into in the Neuro Change Method to how it enhances well-being, how it increases our resilience, proven science behind all this. There's different ways to learn, like I mentioned. Some people I know they're very good at learning, hearing, seeing, watching videos. There's people that are into different forms of media, right? Like we've got people who are into podcasts that are watching and listening at work for a couple hours. There's people that don't got time for that. They'd rather watch a 30-minute condensed version. Or, you're watching the F1 race and you don't got time to watch the whole race, but I watched the 30-minute condensed of the highlights, right? So we're gonna take the time and get this out there for you guys. Make sure that you have access to it through the Rising Palace Collective. This is the beauty of joining our network. It's not only to take, it's also a place to give. This is where you can extend a hand out if you do feel like you know what your purpose is. This is an incredible opportunity then to become involved. This isn't just for people that are drifting and that don't have a purpose. This is for everybody that wants to be a part of an environment where the environment defeats intent. It's somewhere where you go to grow, where you really do truly have the help, the tools to develop the roots, pun intended, to flourish and to grow, right? These are all things that are all part of why we are doing what we're doing and releasing this and taking the time to record it and share it every single Wednesday with you guys. And as we grow, we are going to get a little bit more interactive with this, where people will be joining as we grow the community. This will hopefully be something that we have a whole mastermind behind purpose, and we'll be able to share where we come from, what our wins are, what we do, and really get into the Neuro Change Method a lot more thoroughly to be able to elaborate it into your life, to what you want to do. After we know the different ways that we can learn, and there's the home study method. And again, no straight direct path towards learning this. We'll condense it down to specific personality. We want to make sure that this is available for everyone. The theory behind this is what is purpose. We'll get in the philosophy behind it, psychology behind it. There's a difference. From a technical terms here, we have the teleological definition, the etymological definition. That's all in correlation to the philosophical approach. When you're looking down to the psychological approach behind things, that we look into the purpose, the meaning, coherence, the cognitive components, motivational components of purpose, the coherence between. These are all things that will make sure that we get a better understanding on how that, what, why, all the answers to the question, which will lead to the ultimate goal. We'll have practice together. The school network is a pretty cool place, not only where you get access to the packet here for the purpose and flow packet to read at your own pace, or to read along with us and to go back, and it's something that you'll have at your fingertips to be able to go back to whenever you find the need, to get the language and to get a little bit better understanding on what it is, and to get into that flow state that we need to make our purpose work on our behalf, in essence. The introduction really dives deep into who we are, pun intended. Who? We are who we are. I'm Houdani, you are you. I and I see eye to eye, like the Jamaican man says. There's no testament Without a test, you guys, it's not easy to find purpose. It's not easy to get through the hardships of life. We're wanting to be there and support people and understand that. That's a beautiful thing about the I and I expression that the Jamaican says, is that they don't say we, they say I and I, because we are all one and the same in many ways, no matter what your beliefs are. But yeah, when I went through this purpose and flow curriculum, I'm actually going to start from the top, and then I'm going to read you guys what my notes were as I read through this, because it's, I think, important to share. I'll start with my notes from the introduction. So when I went through this, and it was trying to correlate with who I am, and just expressing just the overview of what the Neuro Change Method is, and why we want to define purpose. Luckily for me, that simple three-worded question allowed me to understand the importance and the power of having a definitive purpose. When someone asked me that, what's your purpose? Found the deeper meaning is really found within the why. That was my first impression on when I read the introduction, was really that I'm glad that I was able to be introduced to this, because I do see the power of understanding why and your purpose behind things. One of my favorite parts is the experiments and the actual interactive section of things, where here I went through a little questionnaire as I was trying to search and define my purpose. With the help of the Neuro Change Method, here they have the meaning of life questionnaire, where we answer from 1 to 7, 1 being absolutely untrue, 2 being mostly untrue, 3 somewhat untrue, 4 can't say true or false, 5 being somewhat true, 6 mostly true, and 7, last and not least, absolutely true. So what's cool is that as you figure this out and you honestly answer these questions, these 10 questions right here will be a mathematical equation as to how it correlates to you specifically. So when I did this, my first question, so right here, I understand my life's meaning. That I answered with a quick 7, absolutely true. Because at this point, someone had already asked me and brought up, like, I had some sort of an idea of what the neuro change was. So I've defined my purpose as reciprocating positivity. 2 words, which everything I do gets directed towards that energy of everything I leave behind. I want to leave the best part of myself with everybody that I meet. And I mean this both literally and figuratively, where we live amongst everything we touch. And that's why reciprocating positivity is so important to me. And that's so important to define my purpose, is that, and why I feel like I do understand my life's meaning. And the next question, I am looking for something that makes my life feel meaningful. Answer this with a 2, mostly true, because I feel like I found it. I didn't want to be like absolutely untrue, because you never stop finding and defining purpose. I can't be oblivious to that fact. But I am lucky enough where I do have a very important meaning, and I do have a purpose behind me. We all have our own story, right? And ever since each and every one of our inceptions, like, we all got something that we can relate to each other. I'm lucky enough to be a single child, made it. My mom lost 3 kids before me, and so I've had purpose before I was introduced to the Neuro Change Method. I felt like some sort of meaning in life, at least towards, even if it was something as small, or in my world, big, right? Being there for my mother, and that she's lucky enough to have me, like, I couldn't undermine that beautiful opportunity of being alive. So that's why, for me, that statement was mostly untrue, where I do feel like I know the meaning of my life personally, and life in general, because I know that it's more than me. I'm a bigger picture. We're all, again, I like to repeat, we're on this planet and a piece of it. Next question, number 3, is I am always looking to find my life's purpose. That was 6, a strong 6, mostly true, because I couldn't be a 7 absolutely true, because there's times too where I slip. I'm not always thinking about purpose. We're not perfect creatures either. We're learning species, but still, at the same time, I do feel it's mostly true. Always looking to find my life's purpose, and everything I do is for reciprocating positivity, and luckily I've had that strengthening and carrying me forward since I was, quote unquote, reborn. My neuro change practitioner that I constantly communicate with, he told me, he was born just a couple years ago when he found enlightenment in his own way. And for me, there's a couple times where I've been reborn. And one of the times was really when I was asked what my purpose was. I actually defined that as a very specific date, December 10th, a month before the anniversary of my father's passing, was when that question was asked for me. And it just really helped me with defining my purpose and directing my energy towards something more meaningful than what I was doing. And it's constantly evolving, still carry me forward. So we go on to number 4, was my life has a clear sense of purpose. That was a strong 7. Feel very fortunate about that. Next question, I have a good sense of what makes my life meaningful. Also a strong 7. Absolutely true. I have discovered a satisfying life purpose. Absolutely. Everything that I've done, even since before I knew my purpose, has been towards my purpose. So it just feels beautiful to be able to have that. So can't undermine the privilege and the opportunity that I have of being able to share this with you and have having that also under my tool belt. I am seeking for purpose or mission for my life. This one I wrote down as a 2, mostly untrue. Quite frankly, at this point, I feel like I have a lot that defines my purpose already. Planting seeds is just huge. It's just something that when I first it just kind of flew right over me because it was so impactful. Stress management, education, exercise. Exercise to me, more than physical too, mental exercise, exercising your brain and your emotions, everything, everything that entails your lifeboat, your flesh vessel, right? So the seeds, at the end of the day, that's what creates neuroplasticity. And it's beautiful because it's just a great acronym where you can grow your roots and it just correlates to everything in life that's life-giving. And then there's the beautiful cycle. So moving forward here too, there's another bullet point that I did skip with going back here to the meaning of life questionnaire. If you scored below a 24 on presence and also below a 24, you probably do not feel your life has a valued meaning and purpose and are not actively exploring that meaning or seeking meaning in your life. Overall, you probably don't find the idea of thinking about your life's meaning very interesting or important, which is okay. You know, there's everyone's their own person and in their own way, and this is for people who want change. This is for people who want to embrace a different way. It just takes time. It's worth it. Worth going through. It's worth at least exploring, doing a deep dive. There was some reflection questions here that came with it. Did your responses surprise you? How much purpose is present in your life? How strong is your urge to search for purpose? My response did not surprise me. I now, luckily, have a very definitive purpose that I direct my energy towards. Everything I do within my strength is to reciprocate positivity. The next page here of the packet is about why we search for purpose. And this one was a really cool page for me. One of the things that stood out to me most was behind social learning, reactive development, and proactive search, some of the ways that we can find purpose in a way. So there's the search for meaning, there's no search, that's where social learning comes into play, and then there's reaction to life-changing events. But that was what correlated, I guess, to me the most for finding meaning, with some very key reactions to life-changing events. And it's something that I think we all have moments in our life where we can at least correlate some sort of definition of our purpose. Social learning allows individuals to create a sense of purpose by copying behaviors. There's like a monkey see, monkey do. The actual language behind it, social learning, is we are learning social species. So a lot of times this happens subconsciously or unconsciously. It can be picked up without you even knowing before anyone ever asked you, what's your purpose? Hope and encourage you guys to really ponder deep about that. What is your purpose? And really, if you can jot and write down in the school community, what's your purpose and how you define that purpose, I really encourage you guys to do so. Reactive development is the next way of developing and finding purpose. So do you know anyone that discovered their purpose through a near-death experience? There's a lot of people who have. The one thing that I underlined here is transformative life events. This is something that, you know, we all have them, whether we talk about them or not or don't. We do have moments, whether we want to or not, encounter change. It brings me to one of my favorite sayings, you know, that regardless of the future, regardless of the past, all we have is now to embrace. And we can do that in the most positive of ways. This is something to be helpful for understanding reactive development. So reactive development relies heavily on chance, but a reactive development is condensed version of proactive search. So that actually leads us to the next part here, which is proactive search, which most of us are left with this. We're finding purpose. You know, how are we going to find purpose? And the process is through trial and error a lot of times. It's hard work. It's definitely not easy. It's something that I can't explain enough. You know, that just because it worked for one person and because one person understands their purpose really definitively, really clearly, and like you see them excel, like we're all on our own ship, our own boats, and you got to correlate this best to how it's going to help you, motivate you, and help you find a better and transcend and everything that we've been elaborating and repeating. Because a lot of times by repetition is how it really gets in there deep. So what I wrote down in my notes here, social learning's examples in my life were the Venus Project. So this is something that gave me purpose to pursue. In other words, it helped me define my values. So the Venus Project, I'll elaborate a little bit about. Watch a documentary called The Change Is Ours on YouTube. And this video is about, the first half is about explaining a lot of our problems with our current infrastructure and our society. So our social dilemmas, from the top down, they complain about government, they complain about the Federal Reserve and money and how our values are all towards money. It really helped me open my mind to looking at things more than money. Like I value, at that point in my time, and since then, I've been valuing self-sustainability and education and knowledge. And that's where I learned about the basis of life, about shelter, transportation, energy, food and water, the 5 basic things we need to live in our current infrastructure, that was social learning to me. Realize that, to me, money is just a primitive incentive to resources. The things that matter most in life are worth more than matter. And that's just a matter of fact. Something I've been constantly reiterating to myself, to others, sharing those words, that language that helped my own subconscious and consciousness both without knowing my neuroplasticity. Reactive development was when my dad died, pushing me towards sobriety. Ironically, when I was growing up, I said I never wanted to drink alcohol because of my dad being such a heavy alcoholic and also a whole line of alcoholics in my family. And then I still drank. I turned 21 and I started drinking, and I actually struggled deeply with that for years. I mean, I've been through the legal system more times than I would like to admit. Luckily, those negative points in my life were positives at the end, because and it helped me see that down to the molecules we consist of. Literally, there's a positive and a negative to everything we consist of. And as a learning species, we can learn to see the upside of things. And quite frankly, the Venus Project helped me see this. It gave me hope, gave me some sort of reason and purpose, I guess, as to why I want to do anything. Why did I want to sell cars for and help people? It wasn't to make money. It was to help people share a positive experience, because car sales people are shady and all they want to do is make money and not be informative. They'll lie to you. They'll literally lie through your teeth to sell you and get you to sign on the paperwork. And I see it as there's more importance to that. If you take money away from things, it really gets you a little more on what's worth it in life, right? So my dad dying was definitely more of a reactive development to me. That day I just said it sounds morbid, but it's the last nail in his coffin, where he was the example that I needed to realize that I don't need alcohol in my life. Tossed the last beers I had into the garbage, and I haven't had a sip of alcohol since. Just with the power of cognition, I still drifted since that day. So January 10th, 2024, I was drifting all the way to December 10th without a reasoning. I had no reasoning. I got my license in between for my real estate in that time frame, but I still didn't know why I was doing that. I didn't want to have goals. I didn't want to have a schedule. I didn't want to have any purpose. People ask me, "Who, Danny, what's your goals?" Like, bro, my goal is to not have goals. I'm retired. I retired at 28. I don't want to sell cars. I got my Airbnb. I'm straight, I'm good. But realized quickly that that was a very selfish thinking and a very selfish mindset, and I can't be selfish. I owe it to not only to myself, but again, us all being on this planet and a piece of it. I owe it to I to really do the best I can do to share the best of my experiences, so that you can use the tools to help me, and hopefully will help you too, wherever you're at in life, no matter how purposeful and walks of life you're doing. This is something that's worth sharing. Proactive search for me can be correlated better to my business ventures, the process of trial and error. I kind of started talking about that, but getting my real estate license, I didn't feel like I had any purpose behind it, because I didn't want purpose behind it until I realized that the importance of that. I'm hindering my own growth by not focusing on purpose and by not focusing on goals. And that's where it leads me into the Rising Palace and the Neuro Change Method, and why I'm doing what I'm doing and taking the time to share with you guys in real time. The next part here, the next page, I mentioned it earlier, but it's purpose anxiety. And this is something that I did deal with very briefly, luckily. And well, you know what? If I really dig in deep, the realness is like, this is constant. Doesn't just go away. So purpose anxiety is not really a dilemma in regards to finding my definitive purpose. However, it's still very relatable. There's still lots of questions to be had, and when finding, there's the fear of missing out. There's also the fear of success. Those are both very opposite realities, and purpose anxiety can somewhat be correlated to those things, where because you are afraid once you find your purpose, like, what do you do with your purpose? And then it becomes really overwhelming, where like, oh my gosh, there's so much I can do with my purpose. Am I doing enough with my purpose? And now this creates a whole new set of purpose anxiety right here. I mean, it's just everything, all the negative emotions that come with it, right? Stress, worry, anxiety, frustration, fear. Those are all emotions that can come straight from the purpose itself. This is one of those things that I'm not gonna go through and read this page word for word for you guys. I think this is kind of cute. That this sucks. It's hard. I know, but it'll be worth it. I may not show purpose anxiety as much as others because I can define my purpose, but to you, that might be a completely contradictory thing. And I just want you to know that's okay. It's okay to be who you are, how you are. There's a lot of science too behind personalities, and people have tried to narrow it down to like 4 basic personalities. You can correlate it to color. You can correlate it to an acronym. The DISC personality profile is a whole nother quiz you can take to realize what your personality is and how your personality correlates to others. But again, circling it back to purpose anxiety, we gotta be mindful and aware that not everybody is the same as us. We don't all think the same. The way that purpose anxiety correlates to me is completely different to everyone else. Take that with a grain of salt and try to, I guess, not belittle people. Try to be nice. And again, just keep being that example, being a good example. If you do have a definitive purpose, use it towards something that will help others. That's the best we can try to do. Next page here is going into what good is purpose. For me, it goes without saying. It clicked with me. I had an aha moment, but not everybody does have that aha moment. Why is it such hard work, and why should we do it at all? But empirical studies have in psychology, they have unearthed that there is a lot of benefits to living with purpose. It does enhance well-being. High purpose creates greater life satisfaction. People with purpose, they tend to be more self-actualized. They feel more positive overall, and then they have a greater self-esteem. Again, there's highs and lows, there's extremes to it. There's both. There's, again, down to everything we consist of, the positives and the negatives in life. There's no such thing as perfection, and though this can help, this is a tool that we gotta use for our own. So purpose increasing our resilience is also something that's been proven. It's been proven to give us more hope, to give us more optimism. Purpose can even help individuals cope with and grow from traumatic experiences. So this is why I am pretty adamant about sharing the Rising Palace Collective with you guys. We're offering it now. We started at $20 a month, and now we're offering it for $5 a month to have access to this and access to connect with a Neuro Change practitioner so that you can have these conversations and learn this curriculum at your own pace, how you want to do it. The next thing here, this is to hopefully increase our resilience. Again, purpose does decrease ill-being too. It lessens depression, stress, anxiety. These are things that are proven, you guys. This isn't just Houdini saying that just because he's reading it off a piece of paper. This is something that I've lived through. Again, just talking and thinking about purpose and having the conversations with everyone day to day, my clients, my coworkers, every referral partner that I have that I've been connecting with to try to bring them aboard onto the Rising Palace idea and the Rising Palace Collective. Everyone loves it and everyone wants to be there to help people. Quite frankly, it's all here in the curriculum, in the language, word per word on how. Now it's just up to us to how we're going to share it, how we're going to reciprocate it, how we're going to correlate it to ourselves. The only notes I wrote down to the what good is purpose is that I couldn't agree more. Just the power of cognition cannot be undermined. I say it all the time and I mean it. The next page goes into the home study method. Nothing worth knowing can be taught. Education is an admirable thing, but it is well to remember from time to time that nothing that is worth knowing can be taught. That's something that this gentleman, Oscar, will be quoted. How we learn and what we do with what we learn. So the home study method, do we learn the theory or do we learn by doing? Yeah, because this whole packet is actually in a way divided into just that, where they have the theory section and then it dives into the activities. So theory is helpful because it gives us new things to think about and broadens our perspectives. It wakes us up. It shocks us out of our old ways of thinking. That's something that I've always thought. Can't remain absolute with our beliefs. Gotta keep learning. But the mere facts pale beside the lessons of life experiences, and those are things that just can't be taught. So theory alone will not change anyone's life. There's a lot of truth to that. We need to put those theories into practice to grow, and we need to turn the theory into life lessons, and we need to experiment and adapt. So that's how we can use all this to better ourselves. The structure of this booklet is aimed towards emphasizing and the interplay between theory and practice, current understandings and perspectives from a philosophy and a psychological standpoint. Then the second part is more about practice, exercising, putting all that theory into practice. And that was one of my favorite parts because it all led to synthesis. And synthesis is just understanding, closing the loop in few words. Most of the course will have goals and objectives. This one naturally is designed to help you identify purpose. In the context of this course, we hope that you find at least a little bit of flow and ease into it so you can get a little bit more about the understandings of not only just the theory, but also practice that comes with it. And so we can correlate it to your thing. Yeah, it's clear like that. But anyways, the evidence for the type of activities in this booklet. So when testing a theory, you validate the claim, and then there's different ways to validate it. So how, in asking what is my purpose, you've raised the question about your identity and some of those theories that you might want to test. So how? One of the ways is by writing about it. And actually, this is one of the things that was super helpful for me because people have told me for years and years, just journal things. And you'll find a lot of very successful professional individuals are very successful because they're very good about routine. They're very good about having a schedule. They're very good about journaling and annotating and having everything in writing. So one of the things that I've implemented into practice is actually my journal of awesome. Someone left it accidentally or maybe on purpose pun intended. Here at my Airbnb, completely blank, nothing in it. And the Journal of Awesome is designed for you to take day by day and write down what was awesome about your day. So I've been literally since October 5th, which ironically is the day that I met Callie, my significant other. A huge impact on my life, but she happened to be, after 2 years of knowing each other, I started writing down everything, every single day, the best parts about my day. I'm known for saying it's a great day for a great day. It's a true thing that really carries me forward. Even when it's not a good day, there's still great things to extract out of the worst circumstances. Again, it might sound morbid, but it's just, I see it as something that's factual. There's highs, there's lows. I don't fight it. I make it part of my flow. So yeah, writing it down, there's a lot of power to this too. Going back and rereading this, I've sat down with Callie already, and I've only been doing this for 3 months, writing down what was awesome about my day. And it's just something that's really good to not only, again, just put into practice, but to practice what you preach, to really help writing it down. I can't talk about it enough. Someone else, he's huge on YouTube. He's one of the most popular, famous guys in YouTube that helps people with build their businesses in real estate. And he talks about writing it down, just journaling everything at the end of the day. And then he's got a very strict schedule. And that actually kind of ties into a little bit further on in the Neuro Change Method here. They talk about process goals versus outcome goals. Mindfulness, part of the efficiency of writing reflections is that it forces you to pause, reflect, and process through your emotions so that you find meaning in those events. So it has a similar effect as well from other psychological and physical benefits. Really good stuff that helps ultimately change your attitude. It helps change your whole understanding of what you consider self-knowledge and what you know about yourself. It's all questioned, and it's beautiful because it's worth questioning, I believe. What I wrote down in my notes about this section about mindfulness and writing about it and just the evidence behind the activities was like, how does someone go about changing their attitude was my one question, but really it's all explained through the curriculum and just gotta keep going through it. The next section, the logic behind the content and the activities, they do go and explain and elaborate on into what it is. Right here, a couple things that I underlined is with the first 4 activities, we explore cognitive components. That was really intriguing to me, and it was a good section to read and to go back and to reiterate. I think I want to go back and read about it again. This is one of the nice things about the curriculum too. It does make you question yourself so much. It does make you want to go back and really try to comprehend it to the best of your ability. Harmonious passion, that was a term that was beautiful to me. I think that's really important too. The motivational component behind all this, that's a lot of logic and a lot of science and a lot of truth behind all these activities. The coherence section, that's also an important section. Again, this whole curriculum dives deep into that, and also you can dive deep into the subject with a neuro change practitioner at your own pace, your own terms. This was funny right here. There's no magical wand that says or no aha moment that makes you say, now I know my purpose. For me though, there was. Oh well. For me, it was just asking me, what's your purpose? And that was my aha moment. Oh, here's a big one too. I actually highlighted this for my homie. You probably will need refresher courses or a periodic reevaluation of this booklet, and this booklet will give you the opportunity. And in my notes, the one thing I wrote down here was that, well, I'm definitely looking forward to the activities. Homie may need to reevaluate soon. After that, so this first section, I guess this actually kind of ends perfectly because the next section is going into theory and what is purpose. This was really more of an overview. I am glad that I got to take an hour here to dive in deep and kind of express how all this correlated to me personally. Explaining my why will hopefully help you find yours. Not only that, but providing these tools and having it at your fingertips through the Rising Palace. Last few minutes I'm going to take to show you guys a little bit more about how to join the Rising Palace collective, so that way you guys get a better understanding and idea of not only what the purpose and flow is, but what we're trying to build here. On the back end of things, we're trying to figure out a way to have sleeping quarters available, to have an affordable place to stay, and with that, you're also going to have access to the Rising Palace Collective. But for those people that don't need a place to stay and already have some sort of structure in their life or not, either way, for $5 a month, you can join the Rising Palace Collective here, where you get access again to here when you go to the members. You can communicate with a master neuro change practitioner. You can communicate with me, and I'm studying to become a neuro change practitioner myself. I strive to someday also be a master neuro change practitioner, but in the meantime, as I'm also learning, you can learn together at the same time. And I can also help you and guide you through the next steps in life. Once you do find purpose, once you do find reasoning and flow, how you can implement change and create true change into your reality, both through real estate, the basis of life that I keep reiterating, the shelter, transportation, energy, food, and water. Once we have the basis covered, then you can grow. Think of it literally like when you build a house, it starts from the foundation up. When you're having a plant that if you're a botanist, you're planting seeds, it starts from the ground up and growing your roots, and it all correlates to you, your mind, I being us as a collective, as a community, as an environment that we're providing for others to grow with. That's what this is for. In the community here, you can go ahead and you can write, create conversation, you can share a video, you can share graphs, you can share links. We don't necessarily want it to be, I guess, a place to advertise, but we do want it to be a place to provide support to the members that really need change and to need that helping hand once they find purpose and once they realize the importance of neuro change and the Neuro Change Method and how powerful it is. One of the beautiful analogies that we repeat pretty regularly is the analogy of a spatula versus the hammer, right? You want to flip an egg, you're going to use a hammer. They're both tools, but one of them has a purpose for it. That's one of the many definitions of purpose that they dive deep in here with the Neuro Change Method, and understanding that you can use the Neuro Change Method and seeds, the fundamentals of seeds with stress management, education, exercise, diet, and sleep to transcend into the best version of yourself. And for coherence, to make it effortless too. That's the beauty of purpose and flow, is that there's things in life that are easy and there's things in life that are effortless. And I had this conversation with my significant other a couple months ago. I don't know how it came up, but it came up that girlfriend, I'm with you because this is easy. But she said, "Oh, you're just with me because I'm easy." It was really funny because wait, hold up, no. I mean, like it's effortless, like being with you, like it really feels right. Like we just every moment that we want to spend together is overall positive, and we're just building, adding to each other's lives instead of taking away. There's communication, there's flow in its own sense. We're staying afloat through the highs and lows of life, moving forward, and it's something that's beautiful that I love to share with you guys. I will continue to do so on a weekly basis, daily basis, day by day, moment by moment. Here we are. Thank you guys for listening. It's a great day to have a great day, hopefully followed by a better tomorrow. Okay, bye.